So what we're trying to do here is we are trying to give new entrepreneurs some sort of exposure through AngelStack. This could be in terms of social media platforms, in terms of if angel investors are trying to find you. If you are pitching to angel investors, you could send out this video and make them more familiar with what you do and things like that. So why we do this is because every new startup founders need some sort of visibility, right? So, and it's very difficult for early stage founders to get that sort of visibility. When we were starting, we really wanted visibility in terms of PR, some press releases and things like that. But it was really hard, uh, your story and people like the larger publications out there, they only follow larger companies. So that was a problem. So we thought we would focus on who are starting up and are very early in their days. So let's start. So I know you for quite a long time, like since I know Georgie, right? And you have worked with us also for a very brief time during your internship, right? Okay. And I was really happy to hear that you are starting something of your own. And so let's start. Let's start with your career and what have you been doing? What did you study? Things like that.
Yeah. So I think coincidentally, my career started with your firm, which
Okay.
is a fun, the loop is kind of closed here. This was my first internship way back when I was 18 years old.
Right. I remember
First
that.
semester of college, very dumb, very naive. I did my BMS from Xavier's in Bombay. And in my first semester break itself, which was, I think, around 20 days, I knew for a fact that I wanted to get into a corporate, some sort of a space where I can learn. Because what I was studying in college was also quite practical. And I think they were very helpful in helping us understand how important it is to like jump into a company as soon as possible, or a brand, or like to be mentored by someone as soon as possible. So I think one good thing that I tried to do was every break, um, and good thing or bad thing, I was part of the COVID batch. So even when COVID happened, I took up a full-time job with my studies. So I think all of that really helped in just kind of learning from a bunch of people, which is very helpful. So 3 years of my college went by, and I was fortunately able to join boat as my first the role. I was handling marketing for the team for a very new project, which is a brand purpose building. And I also happened to lead CSR for boat, which again was a very new project that just stemmed up. And I, quickly had the opportunity to like grab onto it. In that space also, I was mentored by amazing people, the ex CEO of Godrej, and like people of that level. It was honestly a true blessing. With all of that in, I moved back home, worked at a company here in Kochi for a while. It was an FMCG. So across the spectrum, also, I tried to get marketing experience from not just an FMCD that I started with, or a D2C brand. I moved into a more traditional FMCG role, which is again a completely different experience. I feel like within marketing also, as you move industries, there's a lot you can learn. So I got that. While I was here, I also fortunately had a lot of time to think about things because I was living at home. I had the comfort of doing kind of taking up different things, which is when the whole idea of, hey, I probably want to start my own thing stemmed from, which is I think around 2 years ago. It took me around 6 months to think of what exactly. I stumbled upon a socks brand, and I was just thinking, wouldn't it? It was the name of the brand was too plain for me. Like the brand looked fun, and I personally wear a lot of fun socks, so I was purchasing from the brand. But I thought the branding wasn't as fun as as it should be. So I thought, hey, wouldn't it be funny if a socks brand was called Feet Picks? And that is how I started my venture a year and a half ago. The moment I thought of the name, that night I blocked my website, which is the first thing you should do really when you think of something like this. And I've still not been able to launch. There's still 2 weeks to go, but I've been paying my website for almost 2 years now. But no regrets there. I blocked the website. I knew exactly what I wanted to call it. And then I started the whole branding project. Initially, I honestly looked at it as a little bit of a passion project where I thought, hey, why don't I take this to learn a lot more about marketing and branding and colors and logos and things like that. Worked with a designer, built the whole thing out, spoke to a couple of people randomly. They really liked the idea. They jumped on as investors. Now it went from a passion project to a full-fledged brand, with me putting in zero capital, but taking up all work in operations and marketing, and with two people coming in with money and being silent partners, which a year and a half ago I never thought was possible, right? So I think it's just a matter of like, if you think about it, just do it. So yeah, that's how the journey has been. So I'm starting a really fun socks brand called Feedpix. So yeah.
Before coming to feed picks, since you said you were with both, and were you in the same office as Aman Gupta?
I was. So I
And
think
you have met him in person?
I worked with him very closely. In fact,
Oh,
he's
is
my
it?
Instagram friend.
Oh man. Wow. How was it working with him?
He's actually quite amazing. I only worked in boat for just a year, but I think I had the privilege of working in his own market. So he sits out in Delhi and his marketing team sits closely with him. And I say in close proximity physically as well. So there's probably 10, 12 of us on a table, and that table is right next to his office. And he wants it like that because he comes out and he has a conversation. We always just jump into his room. So there's a lot of nice collaboration happening. Every day you're meeting him, and he's a really fun guy. I remember once I was staying late for work, there were very few people. Our HR person was taking an interview, and he just kind of walked behind and started doing a random dance step. Now this is the CEO of the marketing head of the CEO of the company, just a junior intern doing like a interview, and he's just
Interesting.
being funny, right? So he's just like a really fun chill guy. So yeah, I worked very closely
So
with
if
him.
I happen to meet him and I say that I know Jyothika, so he would recollect? Yeah.
It's been 2 years. I'm hoping, but I don't know.
Okay. 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 So, okay, let's keep him aside right for now. So, Feedpix, you said you happened to see this brand, some other brand, and you felt the marketing was off and it should be more fun of a brand, right? So, what fun is about Feedpix right now? Like, what are you trying to bring into? So, is it just the regular socks or like what is different in Feedpix?
Yeah. So I think it really started as like a funny name, funny project. But eventually I started doing my research. I floated a Google form across 100 people, across age groups. And the number one thing everyone mentioned as a problem for socks was that they're losing their socks all the time, right? And that's something I deal with as well. I think everyone, it's a universal problem. You put it into the washing machine, you get out with just one out of a pair of socks. So while it started off being something just fun, I thought, hey, if I'm starting this, there should be a USP beyond just it having a funny name or having fun prints. Everyone's doing that. What am I doing different? So then I set out for the next few months to just like understand how can I solve the problem of missing socks. I realized the solution is fairly simple. We've put something called a sock lock, which is a patent pending thing, a term and a mechanism that we're kind of patenting right now. Essentially, they're press buttons on either part of the sock. You press the two socks together, and it's stitched in a way that the buttons don't affect your skin or like irritate you in any way. And it's a very subtle part of the sock. The rest of the fun element of the sock plays louder, so it's not even something that will aesthetically be a problem, but it's a very functional part of the sock. As we were building it, we were just asking ourselves, why isn't every sock with a sock lug? And I think our eventual aim is to just have this across all socks, plain socks for whoever needs it, fun socks. I've personally been using those socks now for the last few months, and I should really see a difference. My mom, who helps me with laundry, she sees a difference. So, so yeah, so that's one of our main USPs, which we kind of.
So you said you have fun prints on the socks. So these socks, do you get it manufactured from somewhere or how is it done?
Yeah. So all of the socks are made to order. We have a manufacturing vendor based out of Delhi. In fact, last month I was traveling to Delhi. I had a long journey, visited a bunch of my friends back from boat, and otherwise the vendor is quite helpful, wonderful person. But this was my fifth vendor, which is why the company itself took so long to start. I knew for a fact that I wouldn't want to compromise on quality. So every time I got a sample from a vendor, I would try it on, wash it multiple times, put on the button, see everything. And I would keep comparing multiple samples. in the end, this fifth vendor sample turned out to be the best. I'm sure as I move forward, I might even find other vendors, but at the moment, I think he's one of the best in India. And I'm grateful that I spent around a year and a half just to find this guy. But I'm in a happy place right now with my product.
So when you say made to order, like are those made for per order, or I thought manufacturers generally make in bulk, right? So
Yeah.
how does it work?
Okay. Probably the word I used. Made to order, it's according to the design that I've set. There
Okay,
is a
okay,
certain level of MOQ.
okay,
But again, this vendor, I've negotiated in a way that the MOQ isn't as high as most vendors out there.
okay. So it's easy
So
for you to start off.
it is quite easy for me to start off. I have a total of 23 designs right now.
Okay.
All of them have been, so I've sat down with my designer, taken inspiration across Pinterest boards,
Who designs?
ideas. So another thing, so my designer, he's super talented. His name is Gautam. He's a young guy, about 2 years junior to me. He's always been very helpful across my freelance projects, and I knew I wanted him. So he's also got a small person of equity in the company. So he's got skin in the game, and he helps design across the brand, product, social media, anything you name it, he's doing it. So me and Gautam, we would spend nights just going through references, and then he would then go back to Illustrator and design it, illustrate it himself. So it's completely our own designs, nothing taken from anywhere. There's no copyright issue. And so once those are set, usually socks are set into a tech pack with all specifications. You send the tech pack to the vendor, and then the vendor gives you a sample, and then you then move forward.
So I was recollecting when we were starting the company, it was like really hard to find vendors. We had to literally go to Mumbai and scout for vendors. So how was your journey scouting for vendors, and is it difficult? Like, what is your path? If someone who is starting early on, they could understand like how to go about scouting for vendors.
Yeah. Honestly, I think exhausted every platform to scout for vendors. I started with just personal contacts, asking dad, his friends, anyone. So it probably started from the south itself, which is Tirupur, which is known to be a hub, right? So then I knew that Tirupur should have options. So I started contacting people within Tirupur if they could help me out.
So you contacted them over the phone or you went there?
I contacted them over the phone. So first it
Okay.
was either a WhatsApp chat or something like that, and then over the phone. They would send the samples. I would check. There was a
Okay.
time when I also visited one vendor to check, go see the unit, see how the production was done, all of that.
Okay.
I've even approached people via LinkedIn. I've approached via India Mart. So any platform out there. So I've just done cold calling or cold messaging. Found them. Usually a lot of them straight out rejected because they said their MOQ was too high and I wasn't ready to make that commitment. But then the ones who were still open to it, I would then have a conversation. This vendor, again, once I settled everything, I then went and met him in Delhi and then finally got the product.
And he is also open to incorporate your socks lock. What do you call them? The
Sock
lock?
lock.
Sock lock,
Sock
yeah.
lock. Yeah.
So they help you incorporate this as well?
So that's where we came up with a little bit of a roadblock. Since this is so new and like no one in India is doing this. In fact, this particular way of stitching and the way it's done, no one in the world is doing it. So it was a big deal for him to do. So he said straight up, no, I'll give you your MOQ, I'll give you your quality, but I can't deal with it because he does not have the stitching expertise, right? And then the moment it goes out from his factory to a stitching unit and comes back, if anything happens in the process, he's still liable for it. But if he sends it over to me and then I do something with it, it's then my responsibility. So he washed his hands clean, which was okay. So I got a fashion consultant in Bangalore to help me figure out the whole mechanism. Again, I'm not in this space. I know marketing, I know business, but I don't know materials, knitting, stitching, buttons. All of these are still things I'm learning. So I took his help. He helped me get a sample done. But then the problem was costs, right? I can't get it from Delhi to Bangalore to Kochi because transportation, and then also the problem of like transporting me being there, a big problem. So then finally, once I got the sample from Bangalore done, I got it back to Kochi and then I started exploring stitching units. And then I went to Chechis and Chetins and I like sat down with them and I was like, okay, this is how I want to do it. This is the 12 or 14 stitches per inch and, all of these terms that I never knew before. I tried to get it. Now, currently, I finally found a unit and now we're getting it done from there. But I have control and visibility because it's within Kochi itself. And that's something I wanted to do.
So you spoke about patenting this sock lock, right? How difficult is the patenting process? Or do you think, once the product is out there in the market, don't you think random manufacturers will definitely copy it and you might not be even knowing that this is getting to the market? Will you be even able to control your own innovation? What do you think?
Okay, so the patent process is extremely difficult. I spoke to two patent lawyers from Bangalore and Kochi, and both of them advised me honestly to not even to start because they said it is so difficult, it's not even worth it, right? Which is why both of them did not even start the process for me. I did the whole patenting process myself. So
Okay.
I chat GPT'd the whole thing, went through the applications.
Okay.
It helped me like fill out the forms. I'm still in the process. I've only finished 2 levels. I'm the next stage is examination, which is when things get really difficult. So I can only apply for my examination in a few weeks, and most of the time the site is down. There's always some issue or the other. And also, if I were to get it done from a big lawyer, it would have cost me a bomb, which I didn't want to do. So I got the whole thing done myself, and I will continue forward myself. Somehow through Jugaad, I even got the patent office one person's number, and I spoke to them, try to understand where am I going wrong, site not working. So I've had help along the way, but I'm doing it honestly. Even right now, if people want to do it, they can copy it, but we are in a position where we can send, they can never patent it now. So if they copy it and they try to patent, we've just gotten the first mover advantage of putting our application forward, right? So when they try, our application is going to come first, so then we have that advantage. Now a Nike is copied anyhow. It
Yes.
doesn't matter. There's so much that you
Right.
can control. But our belief is that one, the way that we've written patent pending and that we've also trademarked the word sock lock. So hopefully we market sock lock as a name so well that we also kind of get it. So we've gotten that trademarked also. That we put enough marketing into the brand as it launches and we are known for sock lock that eventually even if someone starts, it's okay, we are still known as people who started it first. That's our hope. But we have started the process. However difficult, it should take us at least 3 to 5 years to actually get the final patent. But it's not worth waiting that much times.
So this patent you have applied it in India, and is it applicable globally or how is it?
Yeah. So we've currently applied it in India, but usually patent laws, unlike trademark laws, kind of apply globally. So that's when our examination will come up, there will be similar cases of maybe I've done my research and I've not found a similar stitching and similar way of putting press buttons, but that the patent organization has multiple tools that can find or like their directory across the globe that can probably find something similar, right? The moment they do find it, then I will be rejected. So when their examination stage happens, they go across the globe and then look for any sort of patent or any sort of applications, if it has existed or if it was dropped midway, whatever it is. If it was, say, I found a few applications similarly that was not renewed back in 2010 2011. The way I see it is that's where one roadblock will come. They'll say this is already applied first, but then they dropped it. So then technically now it's up for grabs. I'll just have to justify why it belongs to me now. So yeah, patent, even if you apply just for India, it goes across the
Global.
world. Yeah.
So where in the journey are you? Like, have you launched? Have you started selling? You said your website is still under, under construction. So where in the process are you right?
So I think just like every startup, you have a timeline and timelines never go right. I was supposed to launch last month, but it never happened. We are in the process of finalizing a website, hopefully in 1 week. We will also have the final buttons. So my inventory is in, but my button has to be of the best quality. So I wasn't happy with the last one, the last set that was done. So I'm getting it redone. So that should also be done within a week or two. And my packaging is also yet to come in like the next 2 3 days. So once all of this is done, I'm hoping realistically I will be launching in about 10 to 12 days.
And once it is launched, where will it be available? Is it going to be only on your platform or will it be available on Amazon, Myntra? What are your plans?
Yeah. So one thing I noticed was most socks brands in this space, like the more niche ones with fun prints on it, they're mostly limited to their own website. So website is of course a focus. We are also going across Myntra, Amazon, but more from a perspective of branding and like visibility than from a sales perspective, because of how the like the economics works out. Because at the end of the day, the price of the product is a low price product. So after commissions and all of the listing fees and everything, it will be slightly hard for us to make as much money there. Another thing we're very hell bent on is to launch our slightly cheaper variant with no designs, but with the sock lock on quick commerce. We think there's a lot of potential on Blinkit, Zeptos, Swiggy, Instamart, because essentially you step out, you want to go to the gym, you reach the gym, you don't have a pair of socks. Currently in Kochi, I'm seeing a Jockey and maybe one other brand. Plain black, white, gray. It's boring. I don't want it. So we're planning on doing a competing price, but with the added advantage of a very fun color, also with the button on it. So that's one strategy that we have on the side. Along with this, we think it's absolutely necessary we also quickly enter the offline space, and we're looking at high street sneaker stores, CDC, things
Like
like that.
like the metro?
No, so metros might be a little bit more, maybe eventually, but I'm looking at, say, a CDC, which is where most young people kind of jump in to get their fancy Jordans or like even more expensive shoes. So someone who's purchasing a 30, 40K sneaker essentially would come here, because it's difficult to also find it in India, and these stores usually source it. And they're only present across like Bombays and Delhis and things like that. So metro cities. So our idea there is to kind of use a typical example of marketing is having chewing gums right at the counter sales space, right? Because it's a impulsive buy. So
Correct, correct.
our idea is that for someone who's spending around say 20, 30K for a shoe, they get a kind of payment counter kiosk where we put just some of our designs, and it's that final point of sale where we are giving a product that costs say 1/10 or 1/100th of their actual product that they're buying from the store. So we hope to be the chewing gums of that store. So that's also in the pipeline. Hopefully in the next 6 months we should be able to do it once we build enough brand visibility. And my aim is to kind of put like a nice signage on top of this little counter saying feed pics available here with an arrow. So yeah, so that's also the pipeline.
So tell me about your team. Like, how is the team currently structured? Who all are helping you? Who all are working full time? Who all are on freelance scope and thing?
Yeah. So honestly, the team is almost close to nil. So I handle all sorts of operations, marketing,
Right.
anything to do with that. At this point, even finance. I have Gautam, who's the designer, helping me out with anything design. I have two investors who've come in helping not just seed the money, but also with a lot of resources. One of them, he owns a streetwear brand already. So he's got experience in the space. He's got the network. He's got a small team of his own who helps him with his performance marketing, his website, his shipment. So once we launch, his team will of course help us out, but I will mainly be the one also hand packing and sending things out. The website and performance marketing will be done by this person who will most likely be like a shared resource because he's an investor. And that's pretty much it. So honestly, we do not have anyone other than that.
So, how do you plan your collections? Do you plan to launch new socks like every month, every season, or how is it going to be?
So even since we haven't launched yet, I'm still on the fence about taking a decision about that yet. I want to launch. I want to understand how many of my products, and even in this 23 designs, I've kind of split it. When I initially started designing, I had buckets of my designs, things I thought certain categories of people would like, and I've taken say 2 designs or 3 designs from each of my buckets into my first launch. So now once I launch, it's also like a little bit of a study to understand what's selling faster, what's getting more interactions on ads, what's helping us out. Also, can we pause for a minute? Will that affect things?
Sure, 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 sure.
Just okay. I'll just start
ഇത്
that answer from the beginning.
പകുതി മുക്കാൽ അതുകൊണ്ട് എനിക്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഒന്ന് ചോദിക്കും. ഇപ്പൊ സൈമിന്റെ ഒക്കെ കുറെയൊക്കെ എനിക്ക് ക്ലൂലെസ് ആയിരുന്നു, അതുകൊണ്ട് ഒരു ക്യൂരിയോസിറ്റിയുടെ പുറത്ത്.
Yeah. Okay. Better? Okay. So I'll start that answer from what was the question?
How was the team organized and
No, my
structured?
launch. My launch. product launch.
The product drops.
Yeah, yeah. So for my product drops, I've not taken a decision on how often will I be doing designs. When I first started designing, I made different buckets according to what I thought people would generally like. I made certain assumptions, and I've taken 2 or 3 designs from each bucket and then placed it in. So it's more of a experimental set of designs. So it's, I would assume across the board, different people will find something that they like from our website, even though there's only 23 designs. So once we launch, we'll get data on, like, from, there's a tool called Clarity that helps you with websites. It basically gives you a heat map on where people are like focusing on. Of course, I'll know from sales itself how many are getting stocked out. I will also know who's interacting better with ads, which ads are performing better. So according to that, I think I'll then start figuring out which designs to launch and by when, probably. But so yeah, but I think realistically we will be running this for at least 3 to 4 months. It will not be a monthly thing, at least in the beginning, because it won't make sense for us to keep doing it. Also, the turnaround time for production is also considered. But yeah, that's it.
So going forward, do you think socks will be the only category that FeedPix will have? Or I know the name might be a little restricting, but it's perfectly fine. Have you thought about more categories to be added into this?
Yeah, absolutely. So from the beginning, we always knew we didn't just want to stop with socks. So then the question came, should we change the name? But the name was just too fun to let go. So we're planning on launching, at least now we know that we want to launch boxers, loungewear, because again, recent studies that we've done has kind of given us that little bit of a scope that there is a small, there is a gap in the market. Likewise, as we keep going on, I think there will be a lot of customer understanding also, right? Like feedback from customers. We'll also be constantly talking to the spaces that we are going to be placed in. I think then we'll understand what we want to venture into. But as a next step, for sure, we are planning on boxers and loungewear, because I think really fun prints fit very well in there as well.
So, last question. How is the entrepreneurial journey going for you?
It's a lot of fun. Like I
Okay.
said, I think from the beginning, the objective was to kind of take it as a project. Even if it doesn't work out as well, it's something that I know I'm absolutely learning from. And I have, from across the board, from stitching to material to knitting to machines to people to, this things that I just never really thought I'd ever venture into, I have ventured into. I've learned quite a bit. And I think at this juncture of my career or this age, it's really fun to do it. It's a little hectic because I'm also trying to manage a bunch of other work. I've not fully let go of like a few of my projects, but I think it's quite rewarding, and I can't wait for the launch to happen. Hopefully it goes really well.
All right. So, thanks for joining with us, Jyothika. All the best with your venture, and let's meet again soon. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Have a good day.